Hello dear parent, welcome to today's video. So as you know, we're doing a series on blocked care and we're talking about moving through blocked care. So today what we're going to be discussing is one step. It's by Jonathan Baylin and Daniel A. Hughes. So this is the book where it's coming from. I'll link it down in the description box below if you want to read more about it. And they talk about an acronym which is PACE. So P is for playfulness, A acceptance, C curiosity, and E empathy. And at first I'll be thinking, should I incorporate everything in one video all day about the playfulness, about the acceptance, about the curiosity and the empathy? And then I say, no, that will be too much for you, and let's just focus one thing at a time. So today specifically we'll be discussing about playfulness, the P, and we'll be discussing how this will help you to move through blocked care. So if you're a parent, an adoptive parent, and you're feeling that you're in this blocked care, we've been talking about blocked care, so feel free to look at videos before to see exactly what is blocked care, and you're feeling numb and there's a sense of emptiness, then this video is for you. If you're new here, welcome. My name is myCaRE&CO. I help Christian adoptive parents navigate this post-adoption season with faith, neuroscience, and connection to move through the trauma, the stress, and the overwhelm to a nurturing home, healing connection, and to walk in the grace and wisdom that God provides. And in this channel particularly, I provide gentle encouragement, faith-filled wisdom, and trauma-informed tools for adoptive parents walking through the real, the hard, and the beautiful parts of this journey of parenting. So welcome. If you find this video helpful, please share it with another adoptive parent or maybe even a professional who can help you to navigate this situation with your child. So as a quick refresh of what is blocked care, and it's a very quick refresh, but if you want more, please look at the videos before. So blocked care happens, it's a neurobiological state that happens when your body and your brain are extremely overwhelmed by stress in the parent and child relationship. So you have to think that it's overstressed. And it's especially common in adoptive parents where there's trauma, rejection, control, or high emotional need is part of a daily life of parenting a child with who has been adopted and who has trauma. So it's a natural state, and you have to think about it that your system is stressed, and you feel numb, and your body is saying, okay, like this is a lot for you, and I'm shutting you down. And that is what's happening in blocked care. So thinking about that in mind, about that blocked care, we're going to be discussing this concept that was introduced by Jonathan Baylin and Daniel Hughes. So it's all about the relationship between the parent and the child. That is what our focus is all about. And usually, for it to be successful, we need an open and engaged relationship that feels good both for the child and the parent. Example, the parent shows delight that the child has shown courage as they face a new challenging situation. So it's a mutual delight because you're delighting in your child and your child is feeling that delight. However, when there is blocked care, there is something blocking this reciprocity, this healthy connection with your child. And usually it's self-protection and defensiveness. And it's when either a parent or a child moves from this openness to defense. And it happens for a lot of reasons. And it's mutual defensiveness, which we're talking about when both are in this defensive state. And it's kind of like you're building a wall, both of you are building a wall where you're not allowing that free connection to go through. And obviously, as we know, the relationship would suffer. However, as a parent, you can change the situation around by using your ability to stay engaged and open. Actually helps. And how are you going to do this? You're going to do this through this PACE concept. And what happens is that when you open this channel, kind of openness, your child's defensiveness, your child's blocking usually diminishes. Usually you see a decrease in behaviors, you see a decrease in the defensiveness, and you start seeing this openness, this connection. And it will also feel good for you as well if you are in blocked care to help to open those channels, because then you are getting that benefit from the child. I like Dan Siegel talks about going from the you and the I going to a we. So we're working together towards bettering the relationship. So it's not you pulling one string or the child doing another thing. It's together, you're working towards something. Now you might say, oh, but my child is not going to work with me. No, the way it happens is if you are being playful, it automatically opens, because it's something to do with the brain. So it automatically opens this channel, so to say, where there is more engagement happening. And thinking also, we've talked about this a lot, thinking also about, it's all about safety. So if a child approaches you as a parent in this defensive stance, and you respond with openness, empathy, accepting, again using the space which we will be discussing, the child will feel safer. And because the child will feel safer, automatically that resistance will be lowered. And again, it's all about, sometimes we say, but how is this going to happen? And it all happens because of the chemistry and the neurons and how the brain works. So let's start first with playfulness and see how it's going to work out. So when we're talking about playfulness, we're talking about not just the words that will come out, but also our expression. So for example, the tone of the voice, our facial expression, our eye contact, or the level that we are with the child, our posture, how it is, maybe sense of touch as well, depending on the child. So when we're talking about playfulness, I want you to think about all these things, not just the words that you say. And again, it's not about perfection. It's about trying the best. And again, those scaling questions is like, at the moment, there's no connection. There's like, we're 10 out of 10 with the words that can happen. If you can go down to a 9 and 8, that's a big reason to celebrate. So playful interaction with your child is known to stimulate the production of both opioids and dopamine. And these are powerful chemicals that help to suppress pain, distress, and promote these feelings of enjoyment and pleasure. That's why when we go to the gym, we don't want to go to the gym, but then when we are at the gym or when we're back, we say, oh, that feels good. And it's because of this release of hormones. Now, what happens is when we are in blocked care, these hormones are not working at their optimum level, and there is a blockage, so to say. So what happens is with this playfulness, like consciously being playful, it's automatically working on the brain, and it's increasing those feel-good hormones. So the oxytocin especially, and the dopamine. Now, why is playfulness important? It promotes this sense of relaxed states. So your nervous system, your child's nervous system is not constantly activated. Another thing as well, it gives a sense of hope and this increased confidence in you as a parent, but also in your child. Your child feels this unconditional acceptance. So not, like, if you don't yell at me, I will love you. Or if you don't yell at me, I will cook your favorite food. So it's just unconditional love, and they would feel it and they would return it back. Another thing is also there's a reduction of shame, which is very important for children, especially who have experienced trauma. There's an increased sense of trust and safety, which is very, very, very important, again, because we're always building a relationship on trust when especially they didn't have it before. So there's a lot of work from your end that you are doing to increase this trust, and it's not easy. There's also a sense, when there's playfulness, there's also a sense that the other side likes you. So your child feels, oh, she likes me, he likes me. And the same the other way around. As a parent, you feel like, oh, my child likes me. Another thing that playfulness does is it strengthens this parent-child relationship. Remember, we're talking more about connection versus correction first. So connection first. So we are connecting first, and because we are connecting first, what happens is there's going to be this better attachment, and then the behaviors that we're seeing because of the lack of trust, the trauma, and the lack of attachment previously, that is going to help this relationship. Okay, so that's playfulness, what it does. Now, let's go over some examples to give you an idea. So with my son, he's 3 years old. Now, he doesn't really have trauma as such from the adoption part, but he has other like nervous system sensitivities going on. So for example, he wanted juice before food. So I said, no, first we have soup and then you're going to have the juice, because I'm mindful of the amount of sugars that I give him because his behaviors increase. So I want him first to eat and then have the juice. And then his behavior escalated. So what I did is I went into playfulness. So instead of, putting my foot down and I say, no, this is how it's going to be, my rules and so on, I said, oh, your tummy wants first the soup, and then you're going to have the soup, and then it wants the juice on top. And we talked about it and so on, and that satisfied him. So that worked. Another example, if you have an older child and the older child says, oh, you are mean. And you say, oh, can you tell me more about that? So instead of going in this defensive state and saying, no, like I do so much things for you, you don't appreciate, and then you're telling me that you're mean, that builds up the defensiveness of your child. So instead of that defensiveness, you're going to open up the conversation. So first you're going to start with validating and curiosity. So you're going to say, oh, tell me more about how I am mean. And just being open to whatever your child says that is to them mean. And they say, for example, like, maybe you don't let me play the game like my friends do. And then you start the conversation and say, oh, for you it seems like the game is really important, and I understand that your game is very important for you. Let's talk a little bit about it more, because even I would like to play games all day. And don't use the word but, keep using the word and, because but is invalidating. So keep on using the words and. So then you go back and forth in the conversation, and you slowly put in playfulness. Say, oh, like maybe you know what the game is about. So maybe, I don't know, character X wants to sleep, they want to have a rest. How about we give them a rest? A little bit, and we tell them, okay, rest, and in the meantime first I'm going to eat and then I'm going to come back to the game. Or they need a rest for the night, and then in the morning you can play again, tomorrow you can play again. And again, it's putting that playfulness in. So it's not about giving in, but it's about finding that balance. Another example will be if you have a teen child, and the teen child is angry, like really angry about a situation, and they are being very vocal about it. So again, validating first, which is very important. And so not dismissing their anger. So say, oh, it seems like you're really angry. Do you want to tell me all about it? Sometimes they can say yes, sometimes they can say no. So it depends how the conversation goes. So if they say, oh, like I'm angry, that child did this and this to me, and the anger explodes. So they say, oh, it seems like you're really upset. Let's talk about it. Do you want to talk about it now, or you want to talk about it after dinner, after lunch? And then once they're talking about it, they might say, oh, you don't understand. They say, yes, you're right. I don't understand because I'm not wearing your clothes. I'm not in your school. Or, yes, I don't understand. Can you help me understand? How can I understand? Let me maybe use my magic powers, and so that I can understand more. And you can go along with that and to see how the playfulness comes in. But I think what's very important to point out is that especially children who have experienced trauma, they can be a bit sensitive to playfulness. So you have to make sure that it is not sarcasm, it does not come, or you're not laughing at the child. So what's very important is that in the beginning you have to validate and not dismiss their emotions, because otherwise it will build a wall. So first just see when your child is relaxing. You know your child best. Just see when, you know, like they feel that you're validated them, you have acknowledged their hurt, their anger, their frustration. And then when you see that little bit of relaxation, you can start putting in that playfulness in. So I hope you have found this video helpful. Just let me know in the comments below what you have used or other examples which have been working for you in terms of playfulness. In the next video, we'll be talking about the A from PACE, so we'll be talking about acceptance. Make sure you subscribe. Again, share it with friends, other adoptive families, or maybe even professionals who might find this useful. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.